Yo, 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 welcome to the Arizona Birdwatchers, episode 4, live with you here. My name is Troy, and as always, with me...
My name is David. Dave, I don't know what I go by here. I don't know what personality
I write Dave in the scripts, but
Sometimes I'm Fitz.
Sometimes I always want to just call you Fitz.
I know. Fitz is a great name. But we have such a great player that has already taken Fitz.
Yeah.
And I will humbly relinquish that Fitz name. So
Yeah, I would give it up, because in this world, in the rest of your life, probably stick with it.
literally for anything for Fitzgerald, I would give up.
Yeah,
anything. I would give up for
organs.
Larry, especially after the week he had.
Oh my God, this the season he's been having so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so after another great win, man, that was just a good time watching that game this week. Another big win for the Cardinals, a game we should win.
Yeah, such a great win, and it's such a great player in Fitz, and such a great guy. I mean, somebody that you would just want to meet him, whether or not he's a football player or not, you know?
Yeah, everything he does. Actually, that brings us to our fun facts for the day. I would like to tell a story about the time that I got to meet two Cardinals in the most casual way ever.
You met not one, but two Cardinals,
Two Cardinals
the
on
first
the
time you
same
met
day,
Cardinals.
yes.
Okay.
So I used to go to the gym. That was a thing I did.
Yes.
Yeah, clearly not as much.
Right. You're not preparing to be a Cardinal
I'm not.
now.
No,
We're just talking about
you
the
were just
Cardinals.
talking. That's why we're talking about them. So I was
Right.
at the gym one time, the Scottsdale LA Fitness, and I'm doing my thing, and I look over in the basketball court, and I'm like, that looks like Robert Hughes. And I was like, I don't want to be racist, because I don't want to just assume every in shape, well dressed African American is,
Sure.
is a football player. So I go, and I'm like, I swear that's him. And I look on my Instagram, and sure enough, it was Robert Hughes, and they're playing basketball. And I was like, well, I think today I'm gonna play some basketball
Right, with a pro football
with
player.
a pro football player. So
Here
I
we
went
go.
in. So I went in, and I'm shooting around for a little bit, and I walk up really awkwardly, and I'm just like, hey, are you Robert Hughes? And he's like, oh, yeah, I am. You can tell he doesn't get recognized very often.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, that's Marion Grice over there too. And I was like, oh, what up? And so I got so excited. Nobody really else in the gym knew who they were but me. So then we started running fives. 5-on-5, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to play basketball with two Arizona Cardinals.
And were you on their team or against them?
I was on Marion's team. Robert Hughes is on the other team.
Okay.
And it was so much fun. It was fun to see them not be professional athletes on their stage,
Right,
and
right.
playing basketball in the gym, and they start getting to hood a little bit, you know what I mean? I remember Hughes was arguing the score.
No way.
And I was like, no man, it's 12-13. He's like, no, that can't be right. And I was like, damn it, there went my chance of season tickets right there.
Oh, yeah, seriously.
And so I'm not very good at basketball, And so I went up to try to block him in a shot. Whenever I try to block people, I when I go to jump up against them, because I can't jump very high. I think I have a
Sure.
6-inch vertical.
Yeah.
Penis and vertical match.
Yeah, penis and vertical. Yeah.
Same, yeah. And so I go to jump, and I put a little shoulder into him, and he is fading away. He's shooting in the air, fading backwards. And when I jumped to put a little bit of weight on him, I bounced off of his. So me putting all my weight in the motion he's going, I still bounced off of him.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's just a solid piece of mass.
He was
right there.
he was a bulky human. It was crazy to see, because it's neither one of them obviously they're not basketball players,
Right.
But it's cool to just see professional athletes the way they are. They were the most competitive too on the court, you know what I mean?
Right.
They don't want to come lose to some scrubs at LA Fitness,
Absolutely.
So I wussed out at trying to get a picture or anything like that. I didn't want to put him on the spot, but
All right, so we'll have to take you for your word.
yeah. So probably I could just probably made up the whole story. Who knows?
Well, yeah, who knows? Well, let me tell you, I do have some proof, but I'm way too lazy to go pull it up. But
That's fine.
got to meet Jake Plummer back in the day.
What? Jake the Snake?
Jake the Snake Plummer, yeah. And look, I'm a big Arizona State Sun Devils fan. I'm a big Cardinals fan. But I wanted to show Jake that I was a fan from day one. So I brought out, he was doing an event in our hometown, Casa Grande.
Oh, nice.
And so I wanted to show him how big of a fan I was. So I brought my ASU hat to get signed.
Yeah.
Well, Jake Plummer didn't see the top of the hat. He only saw the bottom, the gold part. And at that point, the Cardinals hats were red and gold on the bottom. So he just thought it was a Cardinals hat. So I've got an ASU hat signed by Jake Plummer that says, David, go Cardinals, love Jake Plummer. Yeah, go Devils, go Cardinals.
Yes, you know what? I think there's some kind of metaphor in there. Probably.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's some kind of symmetry.
There's a beautiful, but that's a beautiful saying.
Beautiful saying, just like Arians has some beautiful sayings,
my gosh.
Troy.
What do you call him?
The Swagmaster.
Swagmaster, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, Bruce Arians is a Swagmaster. He is a BA, and that is not only the initials of his name. And let's talk about BA a little bit. He's done great these last couple of years he's been here.
Oh, yeah. He's turned the franchise around.
Absolutely. And so lucky to have Arians as our coach, not only on the gridiron, but also, in the media as well. He has some great quotes.
He, honestly, if it wasn't for Patrick Peterson and Larry Fitzgerald, he would be the biggest star on the team.
Right.
He would, hands down. And he has so many great sayings. So we want to introduce a new segment that we call Arianisms, which is basically just delicious little media quotes that BA leaves out for us every week.
Yeah, I know earlier in the season when the media was asking him how we were going, or how we were looking over the course of the season, Bruce Arians replies is that we are shit.
Yeah.
But maybe we're just starting to smell a little bit
better. A little bit better.
So anyway, that was earlier in the season. But Troy, against the 49ers, I bet he had a good quote too.
Yes.
And what was the Arianism for this week?
I think it was the best one to date. And basically when, when they're running in the second half and like the interviewer lady runs up and asks him like, how do you plan to keep the pressure up in the second half? Arians' reply was, if you guys let up, I'll be looking for your replacement next week.
It's perfect.
So, and then they came back and they put down 19 more points on them.
Yeah, and you know what? That's his philosophy, man. The guy is always looking to become better, looking to figure something out. And I know there's a contrast in our ASU college football coach Todd Graham. He's a very positive guy. He's known to be very positive. And I don't know if you've seen the Devils this season, but they're terrible.
Yeah, with all the hype they had going into the season,
absolutely.
They have not produced.
Just very disappointing. But Todd Graham, you hear him saying all these great things about the Devils, and we're still good no matter what.
Yeah.
But then you see Bruce Arians, this pro, who's saying, we could have spread it out. We could have done this.
Yes, and we're the...
You better not let up or I'm finding your replacement.
One of the top teams in the NFL through 3 games.
Right.
And he's... that's one thing I really like about Bruce. He's very honest, always up front, doesn't mess around, you know what I mean? Like, if you ask him something and he can tell you the truth, he's going to tell you the truth about it.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, his abilities, have led us through the last seasons, has led us through this season, has led us through the 49ers victory this past weekend. And it was a great victory. We got to start talking about
it was such a good game, man. I loved every aspect of it. We had a lot of cool trivia from the game, you know what I mean? A lot of cool, interesting things that happened. With that win, that was the first time we've had back-to-back 40-point victories since 1969. That was our largest margin of victory since 1970 over the Houston Oilers, which is now the Tennessee Titans.
Right. Yeah. Not even a team in existence. I noticed, too, it was the largest margin of victory of any team this week. We had the biggest game this week.
Yeah, hands down. And when I initially looked at the score, I was like, oh, man, I wish we had gotten to 51. Because the Patriots got to 51 over the Jags.
Oh, that's right.
So I was like, I wish we could get to 51. But then when I looked back, I was like, oh, who cares?
Right.
We beat anyone by larger points than anyone else.
Right. By a long shot.
Oh, yeah. And then a thing I always thought was really cool was we have 3 offensive players that are ranked in the top 10 in the NFL for yards. Carson Palmer's 10th with 103 yards and 9 scores, which those 9 scores is actually he's tied for second. So,
wow.
Yeah, the only person to have more touchdowns than him is Aaron Rodgers. Him and Tom Brady both have 9 scores apiece, so that's pretty good company to be in. Chris Johnson is ranked 7th in the NFL with 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Larry Fitzgerald He is ranked 5th in the NFL right now with 333 yards, 5 touchdowns, which is the most in the NFL by any wide receiver.
I mean, that is beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
our offense is firing on all cylinders, and the stats are proving it.
And even our special teams, David Johnson, he's ranked 6th for return yards with 151 yards. So.
Oh my gosh! And he's the rookie, right?
And he's not even our main returner. You know what I mean? That's only on kick returns. It's not counting punts or anything else. So I think our offense is probably the biggest reason that we're doing that. You know, our offense is on fire right now.
Yeah, our offense is on fire. I mean, this Sunday, Carson Palmer was 20 for 32, 311 yards, 2 TDs, and only 1 interception. He's 18-2 as a Cardinal starter. Fantastic. He looks solid again. He had his very first sack of the season.
Yep.
I mean, look, it's a sack, but it's the first one of the season. It comes at week 3.
And it comes against an underrated, like, the 49ers defensive front isn't terrible. You know, they have some playmakers up front.
Sure.
And he got a sack. He got 1 sack, which is, so that's fine. You know what I mean? And he's moving around, though. He doesn't get enough credit for how slippery he is. You know what I mean? He's not.
Absolutely.
I mean, he may run like a 5.2 40, but.
Right, but he can shuffle around some people.
Carson and Fitz, the thing I found really interesting is both those guys in interviews after the game said that the offense has barely begun to scratch the surface.
Oh, that's scary.
So, a top-scoring offense in the NFL who's blowing out opponents is they feel like they haven't even gotten to their full potential yet.
Wow. Wow.
And like you said, the O-line did give up a sack. So, you know, it's pretty dark. The O-line has given up a sack in 3 games.
Sack.
So we should probably just fire all of them.
Fire all of them.
Get rid of all of them for giving up that sack.
Yeah, replace them just like Arian said he would.
I was listening to an interview where Jonathan Cooper was saying, you know, that I wanted not to give up a sack all season, you know, and I gave up 1.
Oh, okay.
And so, but I mean, to see Coop out there playing great like he has, and he was going against some studs, man. So no fault in that whatsoever.
Absolutely. And then I mean, our offensive threats. Fitz had 134 yards with 2 touchdowns. Chris Johnson broke the 100 mark. We kind of didn't predict him, or we predicted him not to do that. We said 800K. We're now thinking maybe 1K.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking 1,000, man. I mean, CJ is just playing between Fitz and CJ. It has me feeling like it's 2008 all over again. Like, both those guys are playing at, you know, it's too early to say with Chris Johnson, and I didn't follow him closely in all of his other endeavors, you know.
He wasn't a Cardinal.
They're both playing premier football right now. They're both playing, they look, you know, just as strong as they've ever looked. You know, I think Chris Johnson, I heard that he was pretty okay with the Jets. He just there was too many people back there.
Okay.
But we're giving Chris Johnson the ball a lot of the times. We're running about 50% run plays, 50% throwing plays, and we're looking great.
Yeah, what a great balance. I mean, and that balance when you're strong on both fronts makes the other side of that attack so much stronger.
Yes, exactly. And Arians did say that Ellington will probably be back this week, which is, with the way Chris Johnson's running, that means we're going to get to use Ellington in the way we've always wanted to use Ellington, which is the change of pace back, spread the ball around, quick little fiery guy. So I am excited to see what happens when Ellington gets back on the field.
Nice, just another aspect to this offense. This is beautiful.
Yes.
This is making me very excited. And according to Fitch, we haven't even scratched
the surface. And then, you know, our defense is playing phenomenally right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy that we spend so much time talking about offense when our defense is keeping us alive on the field. You know what I mean?
Only 170 yards of total offense last week. I mean, 103 rushing and only 67 receiving.
Yes.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yep.
4 interceptions, 2 of those returned for touchdowns, and 2 sacks. I mean, our defense looks fantastic. They've always looked strong, but they've looked the strongest they've ever looked.
They're clicking all around. Yeah, the 49ers, on their first 2 offensive series, our defense scored 2 back-to-back touchdowns off interceptions. Justin Bethel got his first one there. And I think that was his first. That was definitely his first interception return for a touchdown. I think that was also his first interception of his career. And then it was really nice to see the Honey Badger get out there and get that second one for a touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic to see our defense. And it was the first 2 scores of the game, right?
First 2 scores of the game, yeah, in the first quarter. And, I mean, all around, our defense completely shut the 49ers down. And, I mean, they made Kaepernick look how I always imagined him to be: terrible and a complete disgrace to football. I don't know why. I just hate Colin Kaepernick.
Well, now you can talk some crap because your team, whipped him.
We whooped him bad. 4 picks. I mean, he was out there, and for as much of a cannon as he has, and that's what everybody always gives Colin Kaepernick credit for. He's got great arm strength. The guy threw 4 picks, and a couple of those picks were from seriously underthrown balls.
Right. The dude is going to need some up downs this week. That's for sure. And up downs, that brings us to our next little segment. And it's hard to bring up this segment when we had such a great week against the 49ers.
But we got to keep people in check.
Just like Arians does,
Arians keeps it real.
Just like that Swagmaster does. And so, anyway, we're going to do who's got the game ball and who needs up downs this week. And so, Troy, who do you think needs a series of up downs this week?
Well, on a win like this, it's hard to say. But if we have to give someone up downs, the only real play that I saw that kind of bothered me would have to be on the punt return by Jared Hayne. He returned a punt for 37 yards. He truck sticked a couple of our guys. So I'd have to give that our up downs to special teams right there. We can't let a runner get outside of us like that, especially when we have a couple Pro Bowl guys on our special teams.
So defensive special teams.
Yeah. Defensive special teams.
Okay, that's fair.
Who do you think got the game ball?
The game ball. I mean, you got to give it to Chris Johnson, man. He had over 100 yards. Our running game is back to life.
Yes.
I can't remember the last time the Cardinals had 3 consecutive games all over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah. Oh, man, yeah. Even last season when we started really building this momentum and buzz for us, I don't think we had one guy go over 100 yards one time, and that was Kerwin Williams, who's now on our practice squad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah, no. Chris Johnson has really given us a chance to attack from all sides of the ball. Get this offense firing on all cylinders. And we've got another division rival coming up this week, and I couldn't be more excited.
Before we go into that, I want to start calling this our under the nest player. Somebody that is not really a household Cardinals name. People don't really know too much about him. And I want to talk about Drew Butler. Drew Butler, we talked a lot of crap about him in the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah, we did. We kind of hated on him a little bit.
Which is fair. The guy, he... Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, Ryan Lindley was playing in that playoff game, so, we didn't have a lot of optimism going into it. But Drew Butler didn't help us at all, averaging 28 yards of punts.
Oh, yeah.
Just doing nothing. But so far this year, he's only punted 11 times, so he hasn't had a lot of opportunities to mess up.
Right, which is a good thing.
Which is very good.
With what he's been given, how has he been doing?
Well, 6 of his 11 punts have been inside the 20-yard lines, which is pretty good. And, I mean, that says a lot about our special teams, but also he's putting the ball there to give our guys a chance to go up and make some good plays. There was one punt he did on Sunday where I can't remember who grabbed it, but, it was one of those beautiful ones where they tap it out of the end zone and we stop it right on the 3-yard line, which made things just as hard as it can be for the other team. He's only allowed 1 touchback. Really good, because we want to get that ball as deep into their space as possible.
Right, absolutely.
So we hated on him early, but so far I think he's been pretty solid this year.
Well, good. We'll have to keep watching out for him, and hopefully he breaks out under the nest.
Yeah, under the nest, baby.
Under the nest, yeah. So let's talk about this weekend's game against St. Louis. That's our 2nd division game in a row.
Yep.
Man, and this one's huge.
Yeah.
Bigger than San Francisco now.
Definitely bigger than San Francisco. I think when it comes down to the Rams, it's always a very, very physical game. For years and years, we've had big players hurt playing against the Rams. We walked away from San Francisco without any injuries. I want to come back and say that next week we walked away without any injuries. But with a game like this, it is just rough and physical, especially up front.
And I know, and we have some injury voodoo against the Rams.
Yes. Last year, Carson Palmer got hurt.
Yep.
Drew Stanton got hurt by the Rams.
Yeah.
I think Andre Ellington even had a little injury from the Rams that game.
Yeah, so let's be careful. Watch yourself.
Yes, and the Rams defense, which is I would say definitely the strongest part of their team, has been rock solid so far. 2 interceptions and 13 sacks.
Oh, wow.
13 sacks in 3 games.
Wow.
If my math is correct, that's 4.25 sacks a game.
Wow. And we have only given up 1 this season?
We've only given up 1 this season.
This is going to be a good game.
So this is going to be a very strong test for our offensive line.
Absolutely.
Mikey Potty's supposed to be coming back this week. So that'll be really good because we're going to need him. We're going to really need him up there against that Rams defensive front.
Yeah, we talked about him last week. We kind of hoped he was coming in. Did not show.
Couldn't play against his old team. Yeah.
Yep. So then, so let's get him this week against the Rams.
And the benefit though of the Rams, the thing that I think we're really going to have the strength on, is their offense is not nearly as intimidating as their defense. Their leading rusher is their wide receiver Tavon Austin.
Really?
Yeah.
What are they doing? Throwing some reverses every play or something?
They're running those wide receiver reverses a lot. I mean, that guy's a playmaker. Don't get me wrong, but when your leading rusher is a wide receiver, that says a lot about what's going on.
Yeah,
on
you're
offense.
one-dimensional for sure.
And but they are going to be getting Todd Gurley back. He debuted in his first game last week. He was very limited. He didn't really get a lot of touches on the ball. I imagine he's going to get a much bigger role this week. And, if Gurley's out there, that dude's a stud. He's a playmaker. So that could be a big test for us if he's out there getting the rock a lot more.
Yeah, and their quarterback, I mean, he's decent. Nick Foles, he's got a 62% completion rating so far.
60% completion it's pretty solid completion rating for an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
So that's not, that the completion rating is a good thing, but it's all about what are those completion ratings turning into, you know what I mean?
Yeah, how can he convert those into touchdowns?
Yeah, so it's like, you can get the ball into everybody's hands all the way down, but if you're not putting it in the end zone, what does that matter? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think our biggest challenge is going to come with our offense. Our offense is going to be going up against, a very strong defensive front. The Rams secondary isn't incredible, but with all that pressure you're getting from the defensive front, that's gonna make rush Carson. It's gonna shut down our running game a little bit. So it's gonna put our wide receiver, make us a little bit more one dimensional.
Right.
Theoretically.
In theory.
Wow.
So this is going to be kind of a fascinating game. So I guess let's talk about our predictions. How many points do you think the Cardinals can put up against this Rams defense?
Man, with a offensive that's scratching the surface.
Just scratching the surface.
I'm going to say 34-17.
I think our defense really gets it done.
Yeah.
We're at home this weekend.
At home, another big home game.
I think our defense gets it done. I don't think they get more than 2 touchdowns. I'm saying 14 points for the Rams. And then I think it's going to be 24.
24, keep it a low score game.
Yeah, because I think it is a good Rams defense.
Yeah, good Rams defense.
We're gonna have to break them down, but I don't think they score 2 points against I don't think they score 2 points against that brilliant Cardinals defense, and I don't think they're getting 4 or so sacks against Carson Palmer.
I don't think now with that offensive line we got rocking right now with everything that we have going, I think our momentum. We have all the momentum right now. I want to walk away from this game knowing that we dominated the first quarter of the NFL season.
Right. Well, yeah. So if you're here in the Valley, check it out. The Cardinals are at home 125, and if you're not in the Valley or are going to sit at home and watch it, it's 125 on Fox.
Yes, that's Mountain Standard Time.
That is Arizona time.
So I think that's 425 for all of our East Coast listeners.
For all of our East Coast listeners, you know who you are.
You know who you are. You one person.
Yes.
So once again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for jamming out with us. Like we say every week, if you have anything to say to us, you can yell it to us out on Twitter. I am TDRow1.
I am David Fitz4.
And or you can leave us a comments on the YouTube video or anything else you like. We appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Go Cardinals.
Woo!